Yes, indeed. We back on another episode of Chill Will Talks. I'm your host, Chill Will 174. And as usual, I'm always got something with me. Somebody made me something nice today, so I don't know what this is, but they made me something nice in the glass. It's pretty cool. Thank you. They sent that over. But let's get into the story, man. This is a story about something called a Buddha Fest. I think today the young kids call it 420. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a big weed smoker like that, so I don't know too much about weed. I go back as far as when Jamaicans had weed and you had to slip your money through the doorknob and they slipped the weed back through the doorknob and it came through the yellow envelope. But today they got all types of weed today, so now weed is you can smoke weed everywhere, walking down the street, all that. You can do what you do. But let's get into it, man. Talking about something called a Buddha Fest. Every year, supposedly, don't get me wrong about the parks, I could be wrong, but Battery Park, New York City, you think about the Staten Island Ferry, they used to throw weed out of helicopter into the park and people could get free weed this day, whatever. I'm not sure about the park, I could be wrong, but this particular day, me and two homies was going down there to this Buddha Fest or whatever. Summertime, of course, so it started from one park and you had to walk to the next park. So we got down there early. We went to some park. I don't remember the name. It was in Manhattan somewhere. And people from all over the world would come to New York for this one day for this thing called the Buddha Fest. You can look it up somewhere. I'm pretty sure it's on Instagram or YouTube or history somewhere. But we went to some park. A whole bunch of white people, black people, everybody was there because they trying to get this weed. They trying to smoke. And we went down there. Back then, they had Phillies, White House, all types of shit. But we took a box of Phillies with us. And I'm thinking this day, listen, if they do throw weed from this helicopter, we should take some Ziploc bags with us and get this weed and come back to the hood and sell it. That's what I'm thinking. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we did. We got a box of Ziploc bags. We took a box of Phillies with us, and we go down there. So we went to some park first. I can't remember the name of the park. It's in Manhattan. Whole bunch of white people, black people, everybody gathering at this park, and you're supposed to kind of parade, I think, to Battery Park. So at that time, we had met some people everywhere. We met some people that came off the bus, a couple of white people. They're like, oh, we're trying to get our hands on some weed. I think they was from Ohio or somewhere they came off the bus from. And they're like, oh, we're just trying to get some weed. Da, 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 da. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you trying to get some weed? How much you got? So they gave up a couple of dollars, like, yes. I said, all right, I'll get it for you. I'll be right back. Stay right here. And, me and my boys, we dipped off. We dipped off with that money. And it's a couple of $100, man. We dipped off or whatever. And we end up at, I believe it was Battery Park. And we waiting. Everybody in that park smoking weed. Now, back then, the thing was you could smoke in the park, but you couldn't leave the park with, smoking weed because the cops was there. The cops was like, as long as you inside the park, you can smoke all the weed you want, but you can't come outside the park smoking weed. So everybody in that park was there. They smoking mad weed, hella weed. Everybody smoking weed. And we waiting. And while we're waiting, there was a lot of people walking by. We had this Philly box. And there was a lot of people walking by, and they saw the Philly box that we was holding. But a lot of people had weed, but nothing to roll up in. So as they walking by, they like, yo, can I get a Philly? At first, we like, nah, it's for us. But then they kept on, everybody that walked by said, yo, y'all got Phillies in there? So I'm like, you know what? We might as well start selling these Phillies. We had a whole box full. So we started selling Phillies for $1. And we cleaning up because everybody, mad people, they had they had bud, but no Phillies. So we start selling the Phillies. So we end up selling a whole box of Phillies. You know what I'm saying? Because we waiting for the weed. Fuck smoking. We waiting for the weed. So next thing you know, you just hear the crowd roar, and I'm not even sure. They didn't throw no weed down, but I don't know, because they had a concert too. So, the crowd roar, and I don't know if somebody came on stage, somebody to perform, or they was throwing weed out there. But my boy took off. He jumped over this gate like Superman, and he ran into the crowd. The crowd swallowed him up. I don't know what happened. I said, I think they throwing down the weed, but he came back. I guess he ain't had no weed, but all the money we had made down there cleaning up on shit, we just ended up taking it back to the hood. And we got back to the hood, to the Bronx, and we bought our own weed. And this is crazy though, we bought a big bottle of Georgie's. Why did we do this? I'll never do that again because I didn't know what Georgie's really was at the time. But we went to the liquor store. We bought some Georgie's. We had some bud. We went to this park in behind 163rd. I can't remember the name of the park. But we went back there and we sat there. We smoked. It was like a baseball field or something. And we sat there. We smoked and drank all day. Smoking, drinking Georgie's, everything. I didn't know Georgie's was cheap liquor. So by the end of that night, about at least 4 niggas was throwing up off that Georgie's because that was some shit. Like, we all threw up off that Georgie's, all that drinking and smoking, drinking. I said I would never drink Georgie's again in my life. But that's what happened this particular day. And nowadays, I think they call it 420. You know, the young kids, they call it 420 today. And they don't do the Buddha Fest no more. You don't go downtown to smoke weed no more. But that was back in the days, early 2000s or something. Y'all could look that up. It's somewhere down there. Shout out to 163rd, shout out to Prospect Ave, shout out to Forest Projects, McKinley Projects, Jackson Projects, everything from over there. It's been another episode of Chill Will Talks. 1. Oh, and the Ranch Building. Can't forget those dudes, 158. The Ranch Building, Morris High School, 158 Junior High School. We out.